My friends, good day. The economy is starting to stink. In fact, if you look at the past few days, there have been quite a few rather strange things. First, the results from Nvidia. You know, Nvidia, the graphics card manufacturer that's used for artificial intelligence. And everyone is watching it because even people who don't have Nvidia in their portfolio are still concerned because they know that if this stock were to suddenly drop one day, it could take a lot of people down with it. It would be a mudslide that would make 1929 look like a walk in the park. Let me tell you, actually, if you take Nvidia, it's a company that's at the heart of artificial intelligence with connections that are sometimes pretty shady, to put it nicely, with other operators. That means there's a circular economy with money circulating among Nvidia, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Oracle, Microsoft, Amazon, and Amazon Web Services. So there's a circular economy, which means that every dollar you see is counted several times. You know, I'll tell you something. We could take 10 euros right here between us, you watching this video. We could take 10 euros and exchange it through a program. And we could exchange it so fast that we'll make our first trillion in revenue by the end of the month. You see, when you count the same dollar several times, you can go very far. And this bubble has gone so far that today, just to give you a staggering number, Nvidia is bigger than the 25 largest European companies. You might say it's not that complicated since Europe is suffocating its companies with regulations, with taxes, all that. It's not surprising, but still Nvidia is bigger than the sum of Safran, LVMH, Airbus Industries, Nestle, and if you add in the chemical and pharmaceutical companies too. Nvidia will always surpass all of that combined. So to give you an idea, what happened is that this Wednesday, they were supposed to announce their results, so people were very worried. Why? Because we know that the collapse will come one day. Those were the oracles who were predicting it. The collapse will come one day. About Nvidia's earnings announcement, just imagine that one day Nvidia announces bad results, negative ones, or even not bad, not even negative, just below market expectations, which would signal a slowdown of the bubble, the artificial intelligence bubble, and then everything collapses all at once. So this Wednesday, Nvidia announced satisfactory results, but then be careful. At first, people were amazed, saying, wow, that's awesome and all. Yes, but the results were analyzed in the following days, in the following hours, in particular, and perhaps ironically, by using artificial intelligence. And what did we discover? People discovered anomalies in it. So what kind of anomalies? Should I tell the story? On one hand, Nvidia says they're sold out. That means there's so much excitement for their products that they can't even ship them to everyone, which is generally good for the company. It means they're working at full capacity, except that in the reports, we see that quarter after quarter, there's an increase in inventory. How do you explain that? On one hand, you say you can't deliver. On the other hand, the value of your inventory is increasing. There's also another problem, a lot of unpaid invoices. That means the average payment period has increased, which means there's probably equipment being sent out. And either it's not paid right away, or people are taking way too long to settle it. That probably means the company, because that's well known. Like at Maritissi, I worked in London at a company that did this. It's originally an American company. They sold cards, it was a data storage company, and the prices were ridiculously high. I don't recall the list price, so don't quote me, but I believe it was around 5 figures. I believe it was about 10,000 euros per card. Later, the company shut down. Even at 80 euros at Lady Stalker, the 10,000 euro eBay card still wouldn't sell. It was completely worthless. Actually, I'm not saying NVIDIA is like that, but really this kind of card is where you can't really estimate the value like that. It can often serve as a vehicle for excessive value, and then it can serve as a vehicle for creating speculative bubbles. So I was telling you about this company. At one point, I was looking through the files and I realized there was no way to know which card had been bought by customers and which card had been given as a gift. There were a lot of cards that were given as gifts, and actually all the cards that were sent out, all the cards that were shipped, whether for free or paid, were considered as sold. You see what I mean? It's like today I make a product, I don't know, a gadget that costs 50 cents. I declare that it's worth it if I sell it for 500 and then I start sending them out. I declare that I sold 10,000 of them at 500. You see, there's a problem. The market is very sensitive to this. And that's what created concern about NVIDIA and as a result about the other companies in the same ecosystem. So let me tell you another story. Today, cryptocurrencies are following suit. Why? There are several reasons, even though in reality the reason might be deeper. It's that the markets are manipulated by mysterious forces. These forces that control the markets are creating pump and dump schemes. It means taking assets, pumping them up to the sky, and then letting them deflate. Meanwhile, it creates a pump that allows to steal money from others. It's a known scam. Remember that. The movie The Wolf of Wall Street did that with stocks, but you can do that with just about anything. It means we're going to take something of value, we're going to advertise it, hype it up. People, small investors, are going to start putting their money into it. It's going to go up, and then those who control the system will get out at the right moment. They'll take the money that people put in and leave people with an asset that's worth absolutely nothing. And then, bam, they collapse with almost no volume because there are simply desperate sellers who want to sell at any price, and in front of them there are no buyers. So that's what happens. Secondly, there's another interesting thing, which is that the Standard & Poor's 500 just triggered a warning. It targets companies like, for example, MicroStrategy, which is a data software company. But be careful when many companies like MicroStrategy do this. What it did is that it started saving in Bitcoin. So the company started saving in Bitcoin. For years, there have been other artificial intelligence companies doing the same thing. Their savings are in crypto, in Bitcoin. What happened? MicroStrategy reached such a level of savings because Bitcoin went up. Well, what happened is that their valuation today, a warning, is 50% of their value. And a warning of 50% value, warning of percent of their value, warning of percent of their value. And they have a warning of 50% of their value. And they have a warning of 50. You're a crypto fund that owns software and sells software on the side. That means since more than half of your valuation comes from crypto, we consider you a crypto fund. The rest we consider as something you do on the side. But the S&P 500 doesn't want to, because there are a lot of things indexed to the S&P 500. It doesn't want to depend on things as volatile as crypto. What does that mean? It means a MicroStrategy until January 2026 to sell their crypto or get rid of it. And others too, not just that. So 2026 will likely be the year for the S&P 500 and other indexes. Will start to be scrutinized closely, you see. And then as soon as they find a company that's too exposed or whose valuation depends too much on crypto, they'll tell it to get out. Why? Because indirectly they know that crypto is very volatile. And this, of course, can also cause volatility in the index, which will basically become a crypto index. All right. So today, a lot of people got wiped out. And why? Because if you remember, last month, there was a big crypto crash. So what do most people instinctively think? After rain comes sunshine, but people often forget a storm might follow. So what happens is that a lot of people have been either totally washed out, right? Finished, they have nothing left. So those people have been kicked out of the game. Or people who were partially hit and thought, whew, I survived, right? Which means now I'm going to recover because the market is going to go up since it went down before. Well, they started to recover and bam, it crashed again. So recently, if you look at the numbers, Bitcoin lost a quarter of its value. You see? It was almost at $120,000. Now it's at $83,000. The last time I checked, it might go down to $70,000. So now it's starting to get scary. And yes, if you look at the United States regarding this crypto bubble, or rather artificial intelligence, all of that, in a way, it benefits the American government. Do you want me to tell you why it benefits them? If you remove this bubble, the American economy is actually in a recession. Do you see what I mean? The real economy, I want to say, is like that. We have one. We had Bouffier, no. By the way, you'll see some cars that they have waiting for a reaction. Some administrative security measures remain unclaimed. Investments, production, materials, all that, goods. And then on one hand, today they're triggering a market manipulation every hour. Yes, we imposed tariffs, customs duties, sanctions, and restrictions. I mean, after a while, they're thinking that they're killing the goose. Golden eggs, that's really what it means. They built everything on the fluidity of the dollar and the speed, the velocity of capital circulation. Today, they're sinking themselves. So they need, if you will, this miserable cash that is artificial intelligence and crypto, and these companies that are way overvalued to hide the real situation. That's it, my friends. I just wanted to tell you that. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, but it seems pretty worrying. See you soon.